Guys, some new footage for Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake has just appeared online. It's actually been leaked. It was apparently from a bunch of people trying to do a pitch for the Sands of Time remake, and even though we're not entirely sure if this is how the game is going to look in the final product, because this is dated from like mid last year apparently, there's a few things to comment on about how the game is looking so far. I don't think we can put up any footage from this meeting that is actually leaked, because I'm pretty sure Ubisoft is taking down everything in sight, but I can put up some footage of the original remake that was coming out a few years ago. And what I wanted to kind of say about this game was, though, I was amped up on Prince of Persia news right now because I've just played the original over the past month and Warrior Within again. And my god, I do love the original trilogy quite a bit, so I'm pretty excited to see what they're going to do with this remake. There's no real point in getting ahead of ourselves with the footage that's been released, because apparently this is from like focus test group that were actually like pitching the idea to Ubisoft a year and a half ago. So this might actually not be the final way the game is going to look, but in all honesty, if the rumours are true that the game is coming out pretty soon, it might actually be this version of the game. I'm leaning towards that being the case more than anything. From the actual footage we've seen though, you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt, because it's definitely like alpha footage. I think the actual game itself looks nice, like the parkour. I'm glad they're keeping stuff like that from the original Prince of Persia trilogy, because part of me wondered if, you know, that kind of gameplay from the Sands of Time trilogy would age well in a newer game, and I'm glad to see they're keeping that stuff intact. A couple of the things I'm really no liking the look of though is stuff like the character models, you know? Like the concept art for Farah looks pretty good, but concept art always looks kind of good, and then the in-game model looking like drastically different. I'm not really digging the in-game model of her and the prince, but because it is alpha footage, I can only assume it's going to look a lot better. But I will say this, I don't think the prince is going to look anything like his original self in the original games, which is kind of a shame, because it's kind of like an iconic look for the prince in the original trilogy. And this is the big one as well. Getting rid of Yuri for the voice acting, I think, is a mistake. I think they should keep him for the remakes. Now, I don't know if what is happening in this trailer is kind of like giving us a true idea of what's going on, because you've got the actor doing the mocapping, speaking as the prince, and who knows if Yuri is actually still reprising the role, because I think when they're doing like motion capture and stuff, they have to act out the lines as well, but it might not actually be the proper voice of the prince. We'll actually have to wait until the proper reveal to see this, but part of me is wondering if they're actually getting rid of him, and I think that is a damn shame, because I think the remake should have the original voice actor in it, in my honest opinion. Here's my hot take when it comes to the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake as a whole though. I'm a firm believer we should have actually got the remake that was announced in 2020 and was coming out early 2021, but the internet went absolutely ballistic because of how bad the graphics were. Now, if you've been paying attention to AAA game development over the past few years, it's taken far too long for AAA games to come out, and that is the problem with this generation as a whole, the lack of games. So Ubisoft, I believe, were going down the route of doing like mid-budget type games for their bigger IPs of the past and bringing them out. Yes, the graphics might not have been as good, but I honestly believe that's what's going to happen with gaming in the future. The graphics have to come down. The budget has to come down so we can get games coming out sooner. And, you know, that's what I mean. It's been 5 years before any news for this Prince of Persia remake has happened now, because it got scrapped because people didn't like the graphics and that it wasn't AAA. And who knows, by now we could have had a Warrior Within remake, we could have had a Two Thrones remake that would have had like a bunch of cut content put back in. Mid-budget type games that are not actually going to affect the quality of the games, because the gameplay is the main aspect about them. At the end of the day, I'm kind of sad that games no came out, because it even had the original voice actor of Yuri in the game, and who knows if they've actually scrapped them for this AAA remake or reimagining they're going with. There's honestly no point in ranting about that remake no coming out, but I'm a firm believer we should have seen it, because I think a lot of the internet that moaned about that aspect about the game not having good graphics will find something to moan about with a new game. There's just no pleasing everybody. We would have had no harm just releasing that version, seeing what we thought of it. If it wasn't that good, do something else. And like I say, I actually preferred how that original one looked over this new one here in this alpha footage, but like I say, it is alpha footage, there's not a lot to go off. I'd like to hear what people think about how this game is looking, the Prince of Persia community. Are you guys excited? At the end of the day, we will always have the original games to play in some form. Maybe it would be good if we got the original trilogy remastered so it worked better on modern machines. That would be nice for people that like the original games as well, rather than just replace them with remakes, which is what is happening in this day and age. There's also rumours that this game might be getting stealth dropped at the Game Awards with Jeff Keighley. Don't know if I entirely believe that, but it might be out before March next year. So we'll wait and see when they're going to unveil the trailer on us. Cheers to everybody who watched the video. Let me know what you think about this leak. I'll catch you in the next one.